right. So this is a tool that is, in fact, is online. So I encourage you after this morning session to go visit it. The address is the simple one at the bottom, mrs.espon.eu, and this is a tool that's online in the ESPON ecosystem since 2 years ago. And I'm going to present a bit the result of this tool, which concern not only the Baltic Sea areas, but also the 3 other macroregions in Europe. What's the ambition and what can we expect from this kind of tool? So the idea was to offer a monitoring system for the 4 macroregions that exist in Europe, and a common European module. All these modules were tailor-made. They are linked to the European module, and they are linked also automatically to the ESPON database. And through web services, we are connected to other data providers, such as, for example, Eurostat. The idea is that this system is maintained and updated to the different changes that can occur at the level of the different macro-regional strategies. And as I mentioned, the project was developed from 2018 up to 2020. And you have to know that the process of creating this system involved a lot of communication with stakeholders. There were lots of meetings with all relevant stakeholders. We met several times with different coordinators, for example, for priority areas from the different macro regions. We also had specific meetings with VASAP, as VASAP was a key player within the Baltic strategy. And we had specific bilateral meetings. And all of this allowed us defining the real needs of the macro-regional strategies and to identify available data for the indicators that we will see that we added in the system. The tool ultimately is structured in such a way that responds to these basic ideas, these basic questions. For one, it allows us to monitor territorial trends and structures over time. And this means that we have the regional development context. We use predefined territorial indicators. We include the European context indicators. And this allows us to benchmark each macro-region also in a wider context. We'll see some concrete examples of that afterwards. It allows us also to be able to monitor the macro-regional strategy objectives. And we do that by looking at the targets that each strategy is defining and seeing how different indicators that we have identified allow us to get an idea of whether these objectives are being met or not. And finally, the system allows us to monitor the activities of the macro-regional strategies and contributions to the changes that occur in the region. This is a more tricky one because it's difficult to find causality. We at least are able to identify some correlations with the tool. Okay, and this allows us monitoring the implementation of actions, and it provides basis for reporting in progress. So now to the online tool, because as I mentioned, this is an online tool. This is a web portal where everything is in. You will see that it's quite user-friendly. At least we tried as much as possible. The tool is organized in such a way that we have different modules, and all these modules, besides from some text describing the strategies, the indicators, and so on, we have the actual indicators. Those indicators were first proposed by the consortium developing the tool, and then they were debated with the stakeholders. We have 5 main modules. The European one that has about a bit more than 50 indicators, which are grouped in 9 thematic areas. We have the Baltic Sea Region module with 41 specific indicators that are grouped, as you will see now, according to the governance structure of the strategy, so in 3 pillars and the 12 different objectives. We have the Danube region with about 120 indicators, which are grouped again in the priority areas and objectives of the Danube strategy. We have the Adriatic-Ionian macro region and the Alpine macro region too. Each one with its own indicator. Some of them are common and shared among the different modules. And so in total, we have 276 unique indicators, and about half of them come from ESPON database and Eurostat, and they are fed into the tool via web services, which means that at least for those indicators, we always have up-to-date information. Okay, so the system is able to pull the latest data available in all those sources, except the case that the data provider decides to change how to access their data, which is something that we hope does not happen in the near future. Otherwise, we would need to make some adaptations. And I have to mention that we tried as much as possible to include indicators at NUTS 3 level. Some of them are though at NUTS 2 level, some of them at national level, and some are available at lower regional level, such as functional urban areas, cities, and LAU2 units. Although they are a minimal part of it, unfortunately, because we don't have comprehensive indicators that cover all the areas that we are studying here. There are some indicators that come from very specific sources. For example, we have indicators from HELCOM, like the ones that Professor Meyer was presenting earlier. We have other generic sources like the World Bank, United Nations. We have some indicators coming from the European Environmental Agency. We have a wide variety of indicators in this case. As I said, the tool has a modular structure. I'm going to show you here some screenshots of the actual tool, but as I said, I encourage you to go visit it as soon as you can. We have these 5 modules plus a section with tips and tricks so that it helps you navigate through the tool. We're going to see now the Baltic Sea Region module. You see that it's specifically adapted to the specificities of the macro-regional strategy. In this case, the information is subdivided between the different objectives and between the different priority areas. We can click each one of these elements, and we're going to see now the contents. You see there are some horizontal actions, and we have even something about the general background of the strategy in case someone needs information. Although there are always links to the actual official web pages of each one of these documents. I selected here just one example. This is the priority area transport of the Baltic strategy, and you see here this is the land page for this priority area. We have a description. Summary of this priority area. We have links to the actual information whenever necessary. And at the left-hand side, you see that there's a list of different indicators that were selected to help monitor the status of implementation of this priority area. This is just one of the examples. If you click on one of the indicators, in this case, multimodal accessibility, we see here the results. In fact, these are the results from a previous ESPON project, ESPON track, that calculated this multimodal accessibility at NUTS 3 level, almost everywhere, because you see that on this map, we have, for example, Belarus and the westernmost regions of Russia, which were included at the time within BASAP. So we had to include them in the map, but we don't have data for them. And this is something that is going to happen, that we try to have the maps as complete as possible, but sometimes there's some missing data for a certain region. Okay, and this is what you are going to find in each one of the indicators. You're going to find a map which is interactive. You can zoom in, you can click on the different regions to get the exact value, and you have a description. You have a description of the indicator and data that we are seeing. We have a description of the trends and patterns that can be observed, and we have a comment on the political dimension or implications of what we are seeing in this case in relation to the policy area, to the priority area at hand. Okay. For each map, you are able to do several things. You can pull up the metadata of the indicator, and you have a direct link to the actual source of data, so that you can go explore it by yourself if you want. You can make time comparisons, and you see on top of the map we have two drop-down selectors. And by choosing 2 years, the system automatically compares the relative difference and it shows it in a graphical way. Okay, we can download the data and maps that we are seeing here as image, as PDF, and you can also download the data itself. So you can download an Excel file with all the figures and values that we are seeing here. And as I mentioned earlier, the map is navigable. You can zoom in, you can pan, and you can click the territorial units, and you will get a small information window with the exact information about this territorial unit. This is another example, and this is related, for example, to HELCOM. Okay, we extracted information from the HELCOM reports, which were in PDF form, and we turned that into a geographical layer. And as you can see, we don't restrict ourselves to the usual NUTS0 to NUTS3 units. We include some specific territorial units. In this case, the subbasins of the Baltic Sea. We have also subbasins of the Mediterranean Sea for the Adriatic Ionian, for example. So we have a wide variety of ways of representing data. In this case here, we are representing the water clarity. And again, we have all the description of the indicator and the political dimension of it. Some other examples. This is for example, the forest area linked to the priority area bioeconomy. This is data that we produce ourselves during the project lifespan by analyzing data from satellite, which was previously published by European Environmental Agency, and we derived a set of indicators of land use at NUTS3 level. There are also, from time to time, you are going to find that there are some charts, some graphics, which help understand better the situation. In this case, we have energy consumption, and we have a chart with energy intensity at NUTS0 level, so at country level. But then we also have some charts that show us the division per country of the energy consumption depending on the branch. So in this case, we have household, industry, services, and transport, and we know the energy intensity in each one of these countries by sector. And finally, each one of the macro regions is positioned in its average and for each one of its own components. In this case, NUTS3 regions, and we have this information in the European module. In the European module, we follow a structure about let's say the 5 kind of policy objectives that were defined in the Common Provision Regulation for the 2021-2027 EU funding period. Okay, and these are smarter Europe through innovation, greener carbon-free Europe, more connected Europe, more social Europe, and Europe closer to citizens. And for each one of these big, broad policy objectives, so to say, we decided on one indicator that helps us measure this wide or big policy objective. And for that, what we do is to map this indicator in a way where we can see the position of all the regions that constitute each one of the macro regional strategies. Okay, so for example, in this case, we have the variation of unemployment rate and the actual unemployment rate on a certain year. Okay, so in this quadrant, the more to the bottom left that you are, the better. And we put here the regions of all the 4 macro regions at the same time, and the EU also, because we have NUTS regions that are not included in any macro regional strategy. Okay, so you see here, for example, that on this specific indicator, most of the regions of the Baltic Sea region lie on the, let's say, on the best spot of the chart. Okay, even the averaging, you see that on blue we have the components, so the NUTS regions of the Baltic area, and you see that most of them lie on the bottom left area, which means that they have, let's say, good data. In this case, the indicator is good. It's not so good on other places, like you see this spread of red dots at the top right for the regions of the Adriatic Ionian, and in this way, we see how each macro-regional strategy is doing in relation to the new, let's say, big European objectives. Okay, Besides of this positioning of the regions, you have the indicators also below that I'm not going to show them now, but if you click on them, you are going to see a general European map with the usual ESPON layout that we are used to, and there you're going to see some maps that cover the whole Europe at the same time. Okay, so that's all from my side. Again, I encourage you, please, to when you can to visit this page and if possible, use the tool as well in your work. I know that we don't, well, we have some specific new indicators here that are not everywhere else, and some other indicators that come in fact from other sources, but we think it's quite convenient to have all of them on the same platform because it helps us give let's say a common view of the macro strategy as a whole. Thank you.